Alrighty, hello, and welcome back to a brand new season of the Lake Stevens Battle Association, or LSBA. So, today we're heading into our first battle of Season 9. So this is going to be against the Port Angeles Teddiursas. So before I get into our team for this week, though, I'm going to just quickly run through the roster that we drafted, since this is going to be our first video of the season, just to give you all an idea of what we're working with this season, and then we'll get into our matchup for today. So my team theme here, and I have it highlighted on the screen, the column that is that I decided to draft a Hail team this season. I've wanted to try Hail in the draft format for a number of years, actually, but I figured that Hail's probably not going to do very good as a dedicated team theme in draft format, if I were to guess. So I wanted to win at least one season as the champion first, and then I've said for a long time to myself, okay, after we get one win under our belt, we're going Hail the next year. So we ended up winning Season 8 last year, and so this year I followed through and we went with Hail. So our full roster is Heatran, Kyurem, Landers Therian, Ninetales Alolan, Komo-o, Primarina, Alakazam, Mandibuzz, Poltegeist, Arctozolt, and Mega Bombasnow. So not all of these probably make a lot of sense at a first glance as Hail team members necessarily. So we have our two setters in Ninetales Alolan and Mega Bombasnow. Arctozolt, obviously, with Slush Rush, is a Hail sweeper. And Kyurem, I guess you could look at that and say, oh, well, look, it's Blizzard and it's a strong ice type, so that makes sense. But there's actually a lot of thought that went into a lot of these other mons as well for the theme. So Heatran, as our first round pick, was obviously because it's the premier Flash Fire user and pretty much all of Pokemon. I mean, there are a lot of good Flash Fire users, but when you're drafting a team with a lot of ice types, Heatran is an obvious pickup. Landers Therian, third round. Doesn't really have anything to do with the Hail theming, but I was just very surprised that it lasted that long, honestly. We do an open draft in this league, so as long as it's a legal Pokemon and nobody else has drafted it yet, it's on the table to pick up. So the fact that Landorus made it halfway through round 3 I thought was incredible, so I went ahead and picked that up. Komo-o, Alakazam, and Mandibuzz are all on the team for similar purposes. They all have abilities that allow them to not take damage from Hail. So Komo has Overcoat, Mandibuzz does as well, and Alakazam has Magic Guard. So I think that they're all fun Pokemon to use anyways. Mandibuzz gives our team a nice little defensive backbone. Alakazam is our fastest Pokemon and is strong as well. And Komo is very versatile. It can set up, it can throw out Stealth Rocks, it can Dragon Tail. There's a lot of things that Komo can do. So that's the reasoning behind those three. And Primarina is just a strong special attacker. It can spam Blizzard, but I picked it up mostly because I wanted to try Primarina for a couple of years, actually. I've never want to draft it earlier than about when I did this season, and usually it seems like somebody else has already swiped it up by around 6 or 7, so I decided to give it a go this year. It's another strong Blizzard user, potentially, though, and just a solid mon overall. Poltegeist was probably the most interesting and random pickup that I decided to go with. I didn't want to grab Cloyster as a Shell Smash user this year just because our team already has so much ice on it. So I decided that I would give Poltegeist a try. It's a Shell Smash user, not that I need one of those necessarily, but Shell Smash is just a fun move to use in general. And I think the Poltegeist is an interesting Pokemon. I'm looking forward rather to giving it a go. So that is our roster. So let's head into what we're doing for our opponent today. So that is this team, the Port Angeles Teddiursas. So their roster is Dragapult, Tapu Koko, Excadrill, Umbreon, Rotom Heat, Zarude, Suicune, Hawlucha, Porygon Z, Mega Heracross, and Butterfree. So this team's pretty threatening. There are a couple of random Pokemon here, mostly just Butterfree is a Pokemon the coach likes a lot, but it's obviously not traditionally a quote-unquote good Pokemon, but there's a lot of power on this team nonetheless. Dragapult, Tapu Koko, Excadrill, Hawlucha with the Tapu Koko, and Mega Heracross are all big powerhouses, and then the other Pokemon aren't anything to sneeze at either. So I had a fair amount of trouble going into this week's team building, but this is what we've got. So let me get back out of this mode. So we are bringing this week Mega Abomasnow, Lander's Therian, Mandibuzz, Kyurem, Ninetales, Alola, and Arctozolt. So we're going heavy on the ice right off the gate. We're bringing all 4 of our ice types. So Abomasnow I think is going to be essential in this matchup. I'm running a Swords Dance setup set, but I'm anticipating mostly is clicking Ice Shard most of the time. But a lot of the scariest things on my opponent's team are these like really fast threats like Dragapult and Hawlucha, and the fact that they're all weak to ice, or several of them are weak to ice rather, I think is very interesting. So I think that we'll get a lot of mileage out of Ice Shard, hopefully. Rock Slide is to maybe catch Rotom Heat on a switch. I'm not counting on that, but that's why we're running that. And then Wood Hammer for strong dual stab. Can potentially bop something like Suicune very hard with that. Lander's Therian, I'm running kind of an interesting set this week. I'm primarily running it defensively. You can see that we have big physical defense investment with a lot of HP as well. But in addition to U-Turn and Defog, I'm decided to run it specially oriented for its filler attacks this week. So Extra Sentry was the main reason I decided to go this route, because obviously Landorus has higher physical attack than special, but I wanted some backup like options to deal with Hawlucha basically. So we can come in, intimidate Hawlucha, not take a lot of damage because of all of our defense investment, and then Extra Sensory is something that can hit Hawlucha super effectively, basically. Same goes for Mega Heracross. Those are the 2 primary concerns there. Because if Landorus had any better physical flying attacks, I might have just gone physical anyways, but this will work out. And then Earth Power for our ground stab. This week we're running kind of janky, semi-offensive Mandibuzz. So one might think, well, Ronder, why are you running Defog on your Landorus? And if you're bringing Mandibuzz, why aren't you just running this, defense Defog kind of build? The reason for that is because, again, the same thing that we were just talking about, flying coverage. So it's a physically defensive Pokemon for the most part that takes neutral damage from fighting attacks and can hit something like Hawlucha and Heracross super effectively. So we've got dual Wing Beat over Brave Bird just to preserve as much HP as possible. Rocking the heavy duty boots this week. I think the only thing on my opponent's team that can set up Stealth Rocks is Excadrill, so I don't know if Stealth Rocks are going to show up, but I have so many Rock Weak Pokemon on my team that I wouldn't be surprised if it did. U-Turn, Roost, and then Knockoff instead of Foul Play is our secondary Dark type attack and utility move. Everything on my opponent's team that's physically attacking pretty much resists Dark, I think. So like Heracross, Zarude, and what's the third one? Hawlucha. So I don't think that Foul Play would get a lot of mileage out this week. So we're running Knockoff instead for that good overall utility. So these first 3 were easy additions to the team. Filling out the back half of the team was a little more tricky. I decided to go with the Rest of the Hill package though. So we'll start with Ninetales. We're running an Icy Rock set this week. Still Aurora Veil, Moonblast Freeze Dry, and Hypnosis. Nothing too crazy here. Icy Rock over Light Clay because we're focusing more on having the Hail up rather than leaning into Aurora Veil. So pairing with both Ninetales and Abomasnow, we have our Slush Rush Sweeper Arctozolt. Again, nothing too crazy for this set. Got Life Orb, got Bolt Beak, Stomping Tantrum for something like, I don't know, Excadrill, or maybe just Excadrill. I'm trying to remember what I thought that Stomping Tantrum would be good for. Over Low Kick. Oh, and Tapu Koko, that's right. And Low Kick just doesn't do enough damage to something like Umbreon anyways. So, yeah, again, nothing too special here. This will be a cleanup sweeper at the end, basically. Or we'll just try and get some damage off throughout the match if possible. And last but not least, we're running a Choice Scarf set on our Kyurem so that we have some more reliable speed control. I mean, we've got Ice Shard on Abomasnow, and we've got Slush Rush on Arctozolt here, but both of those are kind of conditional. Like if Abomasnow dies or if the snow isn't up for Arctozolt, then they're not fast. So having a Choice Scarf user is important, I think. We have it set up speed-wise so that it outspeeds Dragapult, not Scarf notwithstanding, obviously. Freeze Dry, Blizzard for dual ice. We've got Ancient Power again for the Rotom, and then Focus Blast is a move that hopefully we won't have to click, but maybe we will. So I've rambled long enough. Let me go ahead and contact our opponent and let him know that we are ready to go. Alrighty, so here we are with the actual battle, so let's go ahead and get into it. So it looks like our opponent has brought Suicune, Tapu Koko, Heracross, Excadrill, Rotom Heat, and Hawlucha. So I think this is reasonably better than I kind of hoped that it would be. At the very least, we don't see any Dragapult, which is a positive thing. We do have the Tapu Koko and Hawlucha combo, which we do have to be careful about. But I think overall, this is pretty good. That means that we can go ahead and execute our Landorus Therian into Hawlucha strategy if we need to. We still have Ice Shard for Hawlucha, and Abomasnow can maybe focus on trying to take out Suicune. I was really worried about the Umbreon, because we can't hit Umbreon super hard with this roster, so I think this is pretty solid. The one thing that I will say is that I don't think that Arctozolt has a fantastic matchup here. It's okay, though. So what do we want to lead? What do we want to lead? I'm thinking we probably want to go into, or start off with Landorus, I think. It's a pretty safe lead. My opponent might think that we have Stealth Rock, and like the main thing is that if my opponent leads Excadrill and tries to throw up Stealth Rock, I want to nip that in the bud as soon as possible. But we definitely don't want... Yeah, so that is Excadrill. That's good, that's good. We definitely don't want to sack off our Landorus at all, though, if at all possible. So if, like, for example, if Suicune came out, I might have just hard swapped out or something. But I think this is okay. I don't think that Excadrill could do that much damage to us, honestly. My opponent does have a number of flying-type Pokemon. I think that the ground-type move is obvious here, so let's go ahead and click U-turn, I think. Okay, that works out, that works out. Out comes the Suicune. So, let's see. I think it's way too early to go into Abomasnow. Just because Abomasnow, like, if we get scalded and burned, that's really awful. And we do want to have it available to Ice Shard Hawlucha later if possible. So I think this is actually a decent time to go out into our Ninetales. With this, we can get our Aurora Veil set up. We can freeze dry this thing if possible. There's all sorts of stuff that we can do. Aurora Veil, again, we don't have Light Clay, so it'll only be 5 turns, but I think that's okay. Or do I want to just go for the freeze dry to get some damage off on something? I kind of like that, honestly. Let's save the Aurora Veil for when we can actually get the most mileage out of it. I think my opponent might just swap out, so let's see if we can hit something with freeze dry. Okay, just the Suicune. That works, that works. My opponent's going to Toxic us, which is fine. I don't think we care too much about Ninetales being poisoned here. I think this is a good time to click Aurora Veil, just in case my opponent wants to go for like a Rest or something. I know that Crocoon at least used to be a popular set. I don't know if it gets used that much, so much anymore, but Rest, Calm Mind, Sleep Talk used to be a thing, so let's go for Aurora Veil, I think. Okay, out comes Rotom Heat, so Freeze Dry wouldn't have done that much to Rotom anyways. We'll take that, we'll take that. So one definite downside to this team is that nothing can really take a fire attack comfortably. Because everything's either weak to you or neutral to you overheat. So let me think about this for a minute. I don't think we can sack off Ninetales, unfortunately. It's our best source of hail on the team. We do have Aurora Veil up, so that'll cushion the blow some. I don't want to sack off, or I don't want Kyurem to take additional damage that it doesn't have to until Tapu Koko is gone. just trying to decide who the least valuable player is here. And I think it's honestly Obama Snow. This feels so bad because I'm throwing Obama Snow into an overheat, but I think we kind of have to. Everything else is more important than Obama Snow, I think. Because, like, we could go for the Hypnosis and risk it, but if we miss, then that's just a horrible throwaway of Ninetales here. And, like, since Dragapult doesn't exist, I don't think we need the Ice Shard quite so much. So this feels bad. Oh, okay, we just took a Volt Switch anyways. We'll take those. We will absolutely take this. Obama Snow still gets bullied by pretty much everything on the opposing team, but we can take a hit from almost anything, except for Heracross, I think, behind Aurora Veil. So that's not the worst thing, honestly. Just briefly checking this out. Oh, whoops. I saw that I had a Discord ping. It turns out that it was my opponent telling everybody on the Discord that we were fighting. I tried to send a message like that, but apparently when you @ everyone on a server with a certain number of people, it's like, are you sure you really want to @ everyone? It's like, yes, I'm the server owner. Let me @ everyone, please. So thankfully my opponent did @ everybody though. That brave soul succeeded where I failed. I suppose my opponent probably didn't expect me to throw Obama Snow into the fire type, but we live for that. We live for that. Okay, so out comes Excadrill. Which is kind of unfortunate. I'm almost wondering if my opponent is just going to double back out into Rotom, but I think that's too risky of a move to make at this point. I already decided that Obama Snow was going to be a dead man, so I think I'm just going to throw out a Wood Hammer here, honestly. When we Mega Evolve, we'll get a decent amount of bulk. We're behind Aurora Veil. If my opponent just wants to use like Rock Slide or Iron Head on us, I think we can take one. So Break. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That is a-okay. So let me go ahead and get a kill dock started here. Mega Obama Snow takes out Excadrill. Because, like, the thing is, like I said, maybe Heracross can get Stealth Rock. I didn't actually look that up. I just didn't want Excadrill alive to basically Stealth Rock us was the main thing. So now that Excadrill's gone, that makes me rest at least a little bit easier. It's also nice to see that the Steel type no longer exists to bully, like, my 4 Ice types here. So we take that. Unfortunately, Obama Snow is at very low HP now, but the fact that I was able to get 1 KO with it is already really good. Like, it's hard to complain, honestly. See, now regardless of what comes in, I'll basically just click Ice Shard and get a little bit of damage off on something. It doesn't matter too much what it is. One of the spectators commented, "Big Brain is running Lando T on an Ice team so that nobody has Ice T Pokemon to counter it." Ha! It's like, yes, basically though. Okay, so I think this is where this is actually a pretty good scenario for us, I think. So Tapu Koko's out, the Electric Terrain's out, so now Hawlucha can come in and get unburdened. But we have our 2 flying types to kind of come in and try and deal with it, so I think this is going to work out okay. I'm just going to Ice Shard the Tapu Koko, get 31 damage off on it, that's pretty good. Tapu Koko is going to take out Obama Snow. And so who do we go into here? I don't think we can just go into Landorus, unfortunately, because my opponent will almost certainly have Hidden Power Ice. I guess what we don't know for sure is whether or not my opponent's Choice Scarfed, though. So as a result, going into Kyurem is also risky. I think the best play here is to go into Ninetales and see if we can get any scouting done. If my opponent uses an electric type move, then we know that they're not choice locked. If they swap out, that's fine too. So let's do that. Fortunately, we have 2 turns of Hail left, so we're going to run out of Hail. Ooh, that's actually risky. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. I'm just thinking, I need Hail for my Arctozolt. So, as risky as this is, and this is mostly just because I didn't think this through. Gosh, I really needed to not go into Ninetales here, actually. Because I need Ninetales to reset the snow for Arctozolt. Tapu Koko's naturally faster than us. I'm going to send in Landorus here. Yeah, I think that's the play. Let's go Lando. I don't want to throw Landorus away, but it's more important at this point that we have Ninetales alive in 2 turns to reset the Hail than anything else, I think. That was definitely a lapse in judgment on my part, though. I should not have sent out Ninetales here. I'm hoping that my opponent will still give us some sort of scouting maneuver, though. I don't know if they'll just hard switch into Rotom, maybe would be great. If they switch into Suicune, that would be cool. We'd love to see a move that's not Dazzling Gleam to just confirm the choice item. I don't know. We'll see what we get. The only thing that would be horrible is if my opponent predicted the Lando switch in somehow and went for HP Ice. That'd be awful. As is, if they just go for a... alright, that works out perfectly for us. I was gonna say, if they just go for a... another Dazzling Gleam, this would be not great, but okay. But as is, we'll take this. So, Heracross is at -1 attack. My opponent doesn't have any of their dark teams, or dark types on their current roster. So I think we just could reveal the extra sensory here. It's a little risky, but that's okay. I mean, this is no longer going to be hidden knowledge now, but I don't think it really matters. Extra sensory away. If they want to switch in anything, that's fine. And the best thing would even be the Hawlucha. But Heracross I think resists ground, so we don't want to do that. My opponent has 2 flying types, or flying type and a levitator rather, so we don't want to go for Earth Power here. Just U-turning would be an okay option, but I think this is fine. Forcing the Tapu Koko out was the best thing, though. Unfortunately, that doesn't confirm nor deny whether or not it is a choiced Pokemon or not, but even so, it's okay information. So unfortunately at this point, Heracross is shooting us with Rock Blast. That's super effective against literally everything else on my team except for Lando here, so I'm just going to keep extra censoring, I think. We have a chance to flinch. I'm not going to count on that, but it's a thing that could happen. And we can't U-turn out because anything will get shredded by by a Rock Blast unless it misses. So we're just gonna extra censor away. It's a good thing that this is at -1 attack though. Otherwise that would do a lot more damage. Okay, here comes Suicune. That should be okay. That should be okay. So Suicune speed is 157 to 295. Ooh, the Suicune could be faster than us. And if it is, that's not good. So I think now that the hail is gone, this is actually a good time to send out Ninetales again, because we can get the hail going, and then once the hail's going, even if Ninetales dies, we have 8 turns to work with. And I want Landorus alive to intimidate some of these other physical attackers over here, so I don't want to get hit with like a Scald or something. Even if my opponent wants to do something cheeky like rain Dance here, that's fine. Unfortunately, my opponent just fell for their own electric terrain. Oof, got electric terrained. Yeah, so when electric terrain's out, you can't sleep. So my opponent tried to use rest on their own the last turn of electric terrain there, which is highly unfortunate for my opponent. So as a result, I'm not going to let them rest again. We're just going to kick off a freeze dry, I think. Because I don't actually care about the Auroraville so much. I just want the Suicune dead, kind of. It doesn't matter that much. Should I go for Hypnosis in case Rotom comes in? Or do I go for Auroraville? Those are the options here. No, let's just go for damage. I can't risk the Suicune getting up to full HP like that. So, Ninetales takes out Suicune. I think we can definitely derive some information depending on what comes out next. If it's this thing... So there are a couple options, right? This could be Choice Scarf. It could not be. I'm just now realizing, though, that we can't actually hit this very well. I kind of didn't prepare well enough for Rotom Heat, which is silly because it's the only fire type on the opposing team fighting down a ice type team here. But I'm just now realizing that the only thing that we can really hit this with very hard is our Kyurem here. So I think what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and do some scouting. So I'm going to click Auroraville. We'll either get our screen up, or if the opponent moves first, then we'll see that they're scarfed. I think that's the play here. So they are not a Scarf Rotom. They use some sort of janky hidden power. Critical hit, not very effective. Is that hidden power Ice for the Landorus? I guess that's what I would assume. Gosh. So that means that I extra can't switch something into this. I think I have one more turn before the Toxic kills me. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out a Hypnosis. If we can sleep this thing, that would be advantageous. And if not, we'll have to go from there, I think. Like, if we miss and get overheated, that's fine too. We've got several turns of hail left. Okay, so that actually works out perfectly for us. Because now the Rotom is at minus attack. So I think we can just go into Kyurem here and start blasting maybe. Like, everything's either neutral or weak to rock, so I just want to get some hits in on this. But, now that it's at -2 special attack though, we know it's not scarfed. Maybe we just try and scare it off. It has HP Ice, I think, for the Landorus. I'm gonna jot this kill down really quickly, and then I need to run a couple of damage calcs, I think. So Rotom H takes out Ninetales. So, how much does our Arctozolt do to a Rotom? Heat. If it's a pivot, we're looking at like only 20 to 30%. Yeah, that's the problem, is that Arctozolt can't hit it very hard. Let's see. Neither can Landorus, neither can Mandibuzz. So yeah, as unfortunate as it is, I think we do kind of have to go into Kyurem and kind of pray here. Because like even at -1, well, we do have our barrier up though. But literally all Mandibuzz can do is like knock off and then roost. I think we have to go into Kyurem here. And we are choice locked in, so we have to choose our move carefully. We have 4 turns of Hail left, which is mostly relevant for Snokubo here. I think we just start going for Ancient Power, honestly. If my opponent switches out, then I'll have to maneuver accordingly, but we're in definitely a tough spot here. Because I underprepared for Rotom, which sucks, but sometimes it be like that, I suppose. Like, the thing is that even if the hill runs out and Arctozolt is no longer fast, like with the Pokemon that my opponent has left, I think that's kind of fun. If possible, I'll try and get Arctozolt in while we still have some hail turns, but it's not like it's super necessary anymore. Suicune's gone, so we don't need to Bolt Peak that. Some of these things are like naturally fast, and just in general, I think that it'll be fun. So here comes Heracross Mega. Oh gosh, we didn't get the Ancient Power stat boost proc, unfortunately. So I think what we have to do here is we're just gonna go for our safe switch into Landorus again. There's no reason not to do that. If my opponent doubled out, that would have been fine. And then I still don't think there's not a reason not to just go for Extra Sensory here. It's super safe on everything. Like, Tapu Koko with 63% left doesn't want to take this. I think that's the play. Because, like, we could U-turn out, but U-turn isn't going to be enough to KO Heracross from here, so we just got to go for big damage, I think. I could see my opponent hard switching into Tapu Koko here to get the terrain up for Hawlucha, but I'm not going to predict that. And even if we did predict that and go for Earth Power, like, all that happens is that they still have their electric terrain up, so I don't think that's really worthwhile. See, we only have 2 turns of Hail left, so Arctozolt is creeping ever closer towards just being a sacrificial switch-in. But there goes the Heracross, so Landorus T takes out Mega Heracross. So here is where my opponent either has Hidden Power Ice and will just kill us, or Dazzling Gleam to hit almost everything for pretty big damage. So we only have 1 turn of Hail left. This is officially where we just switch in Snokubo here. Lando T is way too important to deal with, to help deal with rather, the Hawlucha here. I was like, this thing has a name. What is it? Hawlucha. That's what it's called. Okay, so we have slow this thing out. So Bolt Beak isn't going to get the damage boost from going first, unless they switch out. Electric Terrain does boost it though, so I'm kind of interested to see how this shakes out. If Tapu Koko's on the field, and we are slower than it, then Icicle Crash still does a fair amount more, I think. And how much HP does this have left? Like 63%? Ooh, that's unfortunate. Just because, oh no, 61 is the low end. So yeah, let's just throw out a Icicle Crash here, I think. There's no reason to try and do fancy, like, Bolt Beak shenanigans, I don't think. Here comes Rotom Heat, that's fine. That did a fair chunk of damage to this, honestly. So we have no idea how fast this Rotom Heat is. It resists all of our attacks, so I'm actually just going to go for a Bolt Beak here. Because if we are faster, then we have Electric Terrain boosted Bolt Beak, so that'd be pretty good. I kind of doubt we are, though. Let's see, this has 159 on the slow end. We could be. It's definitely a thing that could happen. Is this a 0 defense or speed investment Rotom? Show me the goods. Show me this superpower Bolt Beak. Alas, not the case. Okay, so Rotom takes out Arctozolt. So now we have a weakened Rotom on the field again. Can't remember. Let me look back and see how many turns the Electric Terrain lasted last time. Let's see. Tapu Koko, Tapu Koko. Okay, so it started on turn 5, and the terrain ended on turn 10. So my opponent is not running a Terrain Extender, it looks like. So they have 2 turns before they either have to send Hawlucha out or get Koko back in to reset the terrain. This has its attack dropped. Just thinking. Hawlucha still exists, but we have Lando. How much does Kyurem's Ancient Power actually do to Rotom, I wonder? Just like 30 to 40 maybe. I mean, we don't know the exact stat spread of this. So Ancient Power probably isn't going to OHKO anyways. But Electric Terrain is still up, so Volt Switch will do a ton to Mandibuzz. This is tricky. Unfortunately, I think I do have to go into my Kyurem here. Because this might not KO, but it should do enough, hopefully. And, like, my opponent will either be forced to go into, like... I don't know. I think this is okay. Because my opponent will either have to take an Ancient Power to the face and do, like, pity damage to us back, or switch into one of these guys who are both neutral to Ancient Power too. If we get the Ancient Power boost, that's even better, but we're just gonna go for the power. Again, because the only sketchy thing is we kind of need Kyurem to deal with Tapu Koko still. But I think this is, like, indirectly dealing with Tapu Koko, hopefully. Again, the hardest thing is just that Hawlucha is still lingering here in the back at full HP, ready to come out and just wreck shop. But I mean, we have our 2 Hawlucha answers here. Lando's getting worn down, but still at 62%, and Mandibuzz is at full HP, so... I don't know, this will be an interesting end of the match. This has been a good one. A solid way to kick off the season, certainly. My opponent is similarly conflicted, it looks like. It's like, what's the order of operations here? If my opponent sends in Tapu Koko, then we just hit Ancient Power again, I think. If my opponent stays in, we hit Ancient Power again, and if they go into Hawlucha, then we go into Lando. I think those are, like, pretty much the only options. How much does Ancient Power do to Koko? Over 30%, I hope? Yeah, it should do plenty, unless it's, say, like, awkwardly, unless it's an awkwardly defensive Tapu Koko. Okay, so there goes the Rotom. We didn't get the Ancient Power boost, unfortunately, but that's quite alright. Kyurem takes out Rotom Heat. Now we are in the end game for our little electric terrain core here. It's awkward because my opponent kind of has to go into Hawlucha here. Because if they send in Koko, then the terrain will go away and they'll have to awkwardly maneuver to get it back up. If they want to use the Electric Seed, unburden fun times with Hawlucha, that is. And I don't think that going into Koko here is ever the correct play. Maybe? I don't know. Because like if Koko comes in, we just gotta blast it with Ancient Powers and hope that it doesn't KO us with Dazzling Gleam. I don't think it will. Dazzling Gleam does a lot, but it doesn't do enough. Here's the Hawlucha, however. So it gets its defense boost here. So like every day of the week, we go Landorus. I think. Does Hawlucha get, let me go to Serebii really quickly. Does this thing get Ice Punch? Shield Pokédex. Let's go fighting types. Let's go Hawlucha. I hope this doesn't get Ice Punch. If it does, that's kind of bad news for us. It doesn't change the plan, but it just makes me sad. It does not look like it gets Ice Punch at a glance, which is good. So we go Lando here, get the attack drop. If it wants to Sword Stance, that's fine. We take those every day of the week, no problem. So now my opponent has a defense down, or a special defense down, attack down Hawlucha. And they have Tapu Koko. But we can't switch out anticipating them to just go into Koko, because if we switch into Kyurem, that's not good for us. So, and also the other thing though, too, is that if Hawlucha switches out, then it loses its Unburden boost. So we just need to play chicken with it. We're going to click Extra Sensory. Hopefully this will do a lot with the special defense boot drop. My opponent Swords Danced in our face, but we took it down pretty low. We still need it to die though, so hopefully we can take one good hit from this thing. And if we can't, then Mandibuzz should be able to take it home, hopefully. Acrobatics, ooh, we barely take that. Lando, you beautiful, beautiful monster, you. Landorus T takes out Hawlucha. Alright, let's see what you got, Tapu Koko. I'm pretty sure you KO me with like anything. We're gonna click Earth Power anyways. So it's going for Dazzling Gleam, I notice. I wonder if it is like a choice spec set? That would be kind of unfortunate, but we'll see, we'll see. Let me note that down. Tapu Koko takes out Landorus T. So this is where I wish that I had Earth Power, but we do not. So let me see what move we have to click here. Tapu Koko has about 63% left. Freeze Dry is sketchy to KO. Blizzard is a guaranteed KO but can miss. It's like not very accurate. Ooh, this is tough. 70% accuracy is pretty bad. It's like a Focus Blast. So let's see what our damage numbers are here. If this is a choice specs, Tapu Koko. Dazzling Gleam has a pretty good chance, but not guaranteed to KO us. That's max special attack, yeah, Timid. And what does that do to Mandibuzz here? It doesn't KO Mandibuzz either, though. Okay, so we just go for the not miss. We're gonna click Freeze Dry. Okay, that was enough to KO anyways. Oh my gosh. GG, Jacob, coach of the Teddiursas. That was a fantastic battle, tense down to the last moment. And with that, we take home a week 1 win for the Hail team. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So as always, thank you to everybody who watched. We'll be back next week with our week 2 battle against Chaz, coach of the Aldehyde Aegislashes. So until then, farewell.